Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my lecture on ischioanal fossa.
So, what will be the learning objectives of our presentation? We will be just recapitulating the boundaries and division of perineum. Then we will start with ischioanal fossa. First of all, we will define ischioanal fossa. Then we will talk about the boundaries, recesses, contents, and applied anatomy of ischioanal fossa. And we will also discuss an important structure in the lateral wall of ischioanal fossa, that is the pudendal canal. What is perineum? It is a rhomboid space which is situated at the lower end of abdomen between the interval of two thighs, and it includes the external genitalia in case of males and females. It lies below the pelvic diaphragm, which is the muscular diaphragm formed by levator ani and the coccygeus muscles. So, what are the boundaries of perineum? They are actually the same boundaries as we have in case of pelvic outlet. Anteriorly, the bony boundary is the pubic arch and arcade pubic ligament. Posteriorly, we have coccyx. And on each side, because it is a rhomboid, so we have istiopubic rami and ischial tuberosity. And posteriorly, we have the green colored structure shown in the diagram, that is the sacrotuberous ligament, which extends from sacrum to the ischial tuberosity. So these are the boundaries of rhomboid space, that is the perineum. And here we can see that with the help of a dotted line, it is divided into two triangles. Anteriorly, we have urogenital triangle, and posteriorly, we have anal triangle, which bears the anal opening. And we can also see the central tendon of perineum, that is the perineal body just anterior to the anal opening, which is a very important structure. So these are the boundaries. Talking about the divisions, we have already talked about how it is divided into two regions by a line joining the anterior part of ischial tuberosity. Anteriorly is the urogenital region with urethral orifice and the vaginal orifice as shown in the diagram in case of female perineum. And posteriorly we have anal region where we have the anal opening. And urogenital region bears the pouches, the external urogenital organs in the superficial and the deep perineal pouch. And in the anal region, we have ischiorectal fossa on either side of the anal opening, which is the today's point topic of interest. So this is the division of perineum. So urogenital region contains urethra, and root of which is enclosed by root of penis and scrotum in case of male. In females, it contains urethra and the vaginal orifice and female external genitalia. Then it has two spaces, superficial and the deep perineal pouches, and three membranes. Coming to the second triangle, that is the anal region, which is the area between the posterior margin of urogenital diaphragm and the coccyx, and it transmits the anal canal.
So, anal canal is surrounded by external anal sphincter as we can see over here, and it is connected to the coccyx by anococcygeal ligament. Now, where this extrarectal fossa, which is the topic of today's interest, is located, it is located on either side of the anal canal. It is a wedge-shaped space or triangular space, and a perineal body is situated 1.25 centimeter anterior to anal canal, as we have already seen. And in this diagram, we can also appreciate that the sphincters of anal canal, internal anal sphincter is nothing but the inner circular lining, and then we can see that external anal sphincter has three parts: superficial, deep, and subcutaneous part. And we can also appreciate white line of Hilton over here between the lower 8 millimeters and uh, upper 30 millimeters. We have the junction, which is known as white line of Hilton. Now we know that what is the location of ischioanal fossa, that it is located on either side of anal canal, fat filled space located on either side of anal canal, and the shape is wedge shaped. and it is located below the levator ani, that is the pelvic diaphragm. The base of this wedge-shaped space is formed by skin, and apex is directed upwards and laterally, as we can see in the diagram given above, that how the apex is directed laterally, and it is formed by the line where obturator fascia meets the inferior fascia of pelvic diaphragm, which is also known as anal fascia. So this is the apex. Anteriorly, this fossa is limited by posterior border of perineal membrane, and posteriorly, as we can see in the diagram given below, posterior limit is formed by sacrotuberous ligament and lower border of gluteus maximus muscle. So these are the boundaries, and then coming to the walls which are left, that is the lateral wall and the medial wall. We will discuss lateral wall first of all. The lateral wall is formed by fascia covering obturator internus muscle. We can see in the diagram given above, and the medial wall is sloping upwards and laterally, and it is formed by external anal sphincter with its fascia. In the lower part, we can see in the diagram given above, the external anal sphincter. So in the lower part, medial wall is formed by this, and in the upper part, the medial wall is formed by levator ani with its fascia, which is also known as anal fascia. These are the boundaries of ischioanal fossa. So in this diagram we can see various boundaries of ischioanal fossa.
Coming to the contents of ischioanal fossa, the most important content of ischioanal fossa is nothing but fat, and it also contains inferior rectal nerves and vessels that enter through the lesser sciatic foramen and run in the pudendal canal. Then it has perineal branch of S4 nerve, that is the fourth sacral nerve, and posterior scrotal nerves and vessels, and posterior labial nerve and vessels also in case of females. It also contains perforating cutaneous branches of nerves S2 and S3. Right, and we can also see that the pudendal canal is a very important content in the lateral wall of ischiorectal fossa. So these are the contents, and in the diagram also we can appreciate all the boundaries of ischiorectal or ischioanal fossa. Levator ani muscle with its fascia, obturator internus with its fascia, and then we can see the pudendal canal with its contents. Internal pudendal artery is lying in the pudendal canal, perineal nerve, and then we can also see that how the uh, middle rectal artery is turning across the ischiorectal fossa. So certain contents can be seen in this diagram. What are the recesses of ischiorectal fossa? There are anterior recess, posterior recess, and horseshoe shaped recess. In the diagram given above, we can see the anterior recess, right? So anterior recess, it extends above the urogenital diaphragm, which is a muscular diaphragm formed by a sphincter urethrae and deep transverse perineal muscle. So it is the extension of fossa above this urogenital diaphragm. Then we have the posterior recess, uh, which cannot be seen over here, but the posterior recess is the extension of the ischiorectal fossa deep to sacrotuberous ligament, which can be appreciated over here, right? So this arrow which is shown, the arrow which is given above, is projecting into the posterior recess. That it is the one which is extending beyond deep to the sacrotuberous ligament. Then we have horseshoe shaped recess, which is actually the one which is connecting the two ischiorectal fossa behind the anal canal. Ischioanal fossa, we can see in the diagram given below that how both the ischiorectal fossa of both the sides, they are connected with each other behind the anal opening. So these are the recesses of ischioanal fossa. So coming to the spaces of ischiorectal fossa, we have two spaces in ischiorectal fossa. The one is perianal space. As you can see in the diagram, it is the space which is separated from main ischioanal space by perianal fascia. Now, what is this perianal fascia? We came across anal fascia. Now here we have perianal fascia. Anal fascia was the fascia below the levator ani. But the perianal fascia, it extends from the longitudinal coat of anal canal, lower end of longitudinal coat of anal canal, and it extends medially. Basically, it is extending medially, that is from the anal canal or from the white line of Hilton to pudendal canal laterally. Right, so this is the perianal fascia. And why it is important? It is important clinically because in this perianal space, the fat is tightly packed. So whenever there is any infection in this area, this infection will be very painful and it will be a non-yielding type of infection. Right, now the second space we have is the ischiorectal space or the ischioanal space. It is the one which is the main part of fossa and it is lying above the perianal fascia. And here the fat is loosely arranged. So infection are less painful as compared to that of the perianal space infections, and this ischioanal space is large and deep. So coming to the applied aspect of the ischioanal fossa, that why we are studying the ischioanal fossa, as I have discussed earlier, that the ischioanal fossa is a fat-filled space, and it allows the distension of rectum and anal canal during passage of feces or the defecation, and it is a common site of abscess. As we have already discussed, that perianal space and the ischioanal space, both of them are the potential sites of the infection, and if the infection or abscess is there in the perianal space, it will be painful, and whereas in the ischioanal space, if the infection is there, the pain will only be produced when there is excessive amount of swelling, or and it will proceed without any impending tension because fat is loosely arranged ischioanal space. Right, now abscess can has its own complications, right? Like abscess can burst in interiorly or internally into anal canal and rectum, or it can burst externally also on the surface. So fistula can be created, and the fistula will be ischioanal type of anorectal fistula or fistula in ano. And the most common site of the internal opening of this type of fistula is the floor of the anal crypt, and the abscess, it bursts externally, the healing does not occur. Right, and through the horseshoe shaped recess, the swelling can become bilateral. And as we have already talked that this ischiorectal space, it provides support to the rectum and anal canal. So if in any chronic disease the fat is lost, it will result in prolapse of rectum. Then there is a important structure which is known as hiatus of Scholbe. What is it? It is an occasional gap which is present between the tendinous origin of levator ani and the obturator fascia, that is the medial wall. Medial and the between the medial wall and the lateral wall, we have already talked about that. Superomedially the wall is formed by levator fascia covering the levator ani, and laterally it is formed by obturator fascia. So in between these two walls we can have a gap which is known as hiatus of Scholbe. So sometimes what happens, the pelvic organ, they can herniate through this gap into the ischiorectal fossa and resulting in something which is known as ischiorectal hernia. So this was the applied aspect related to the ischioanal fossa. Let's discuss a bit about an important structure in the lateral wall of ischiorectal fossa, that is the pudendal canal. It is bounded laterally by the obturator fascia and medially by the lunate fascia. Now what was this lunate fascia? Lunate fascia is the one which arches over the ischiorectal fat, and you can see over here in this diagram the lunate fascia actually it begins laterally at pudendal canal and it merges medially with the fascia covering the deep part of external anal sphincter. So this is the lunate fascia, and it is also dividing the ischiorectal space into suprategmental and tegmental space. And pudendal canal, it actually begins posteriorly near the lesser sciatic foramen, and inferiorly it is related to sacrotuberous ligament. Now, why it is contains the neurovascular bundle of perineum. Pudendal nerve, S2, S3, S4, and internal pudendal vessels. They are the this is the neurovascular bundle which is supplying the entire structures of the perineum. Right. So we have the this pudendal canal is a very important structure. Pudendal nerve is the chief nerve of perineum and external genitalia, and it comes from sacral plexus. The root value is S2, S3, S4, and in the basically it comes from the gluteal region to the perineum through the lesser sciatic foramen. It reaches over here, and then we can see that the we have branches also of the pudendal nerve. They are the inferior rectal nerve, which are given in the posterior part of the pudendal canal, and its two terminal branches are perineal nerve and dorsal nerve of penis. And what is the importance? That whenever any surgery is to be done in this area, the regional anesthesia can be given by the pudendal nerve block. So here we can see certain branches of pudendal nerve, that how it is supplying various structures in the perineum. This is the female perineum, and we can see that it is giving inferior rectal nerve first of all in the pudendal canal itself, which is supplying the anal margin, and then it is giving the dorsal nerve of clitoris and the posterior labial nerve in case of female. Perineal nerve, it divides into two branches, the terminal branches, posterior labial and the dorsal nerve of clitoris. So here we can appreciate the pudendal nerve in the pudendal canal. This is the line diagram, and we can see that how through the lesser sciatic foramen the pudendal nerve is coming into the pudendal canal, and it is dividing into perineal nerve, dorsal nerve of clitoris, and the inferior rectal nerve, which was previously known as inferior hemorrhoidal nerve. The second content is the internal pudendal artery. It is a terminal branch of anterior division of interiliac artery, and the named branches, they are similar to that of the nerve: inferior rectal artery, perineal artery, and artery of penis or clitoris. So these are the branches of the internal pudendal artery, where we can see over here the dorsal artery, deep artery, and the we can see also to the artery to the bulb, and inferior rectal artery on the left side.